You are already sitting on a level of business intelligence that no spreadsheet will ever capture. Right now, in your body, in your field, in the electromagnetic signature that every single one of your cells is broadcasting, there is information about every decision you are trying to make, about whether to hire the person, whether to launch that offer, whether to say yes to that partnership or walk away. Now, each and every one of us is born with that innate ability to know things. The problem is that nobody ever taught you how to access that level of knowing. Before we dive in, hi, I am Dr. Shiri Leader, a PhD and intuitive leadership mentor for entrepreneurs. My work sits at the intersection of quantum energy healing and science, intuitive channeling, human design, somatic healing, subconscious rewiring, and also very real physical action taken in accordance with your design and your soul. What I help entrepreneurs and founders do is build what I call quantum level clarity, the ability to read the energetic reality of any situation before it becomes visible in the physical world, deciding what is right and always taking the highest path that will get you to the result that you are desiring in the shortest amount of time and with least resistance. Now, this intuitive knowing that we are going to talk about today to help you make decisions, high level decisions in your business, this is something that we're all born with. Every single person in this world has the ability to tap into their intuition and get this higher level knowing, this higher level clarity. The problem is nobody ever taught you how to access it. So what you do instead, what most brilliant, high level, high achieving entrepreneurs do is you run the numbers, you build the spreadsheets, you consult your mentors, you consult your logical mind over and over again, the same mind that has been conditioned by fear and programming and other people's definitions of success. And then you wonder why you keep making decisions that look maybe right on paper, but then they feel wrong, they turn out wrong, or they turn out quote unquote right, but they don't feel right for you. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, those decisions that you linger on for days, weeks, sometimes months, that you lose sleep over. You cannot turn off your mind even during sleep. And the level of intuition that we're going to talk about today, scientific level intuition, is going to help you make a decision, know that it's the right decision always, and move on. So today I'm going to walk you through my sovereign decision method. This is my framework that I use with my private clients, some of the most accomplished founders and CEOs that I know, to test any business opportunities, any decisions that they are trying to make against their exact soul architecture, their higher self, before they commit a single dollar or a single hour into the thing. So first, I want to talk about something that most people get completely wrong about intuition. Most people think of intuition as like a gut feeling, right? Like a vague instinct that something is right or something is wrong, like a simple yes or no question. Should I do this? And they think that their gut should just tell them that. And most people, honestly, for a good reason, don't trust their gut. Intuition is far more complex than any of those things that I just talked about. And if you've ever tried using intuition and found it unreliable, confusing, contradictory, this is exactly why. What most people don't understand is, first of all, every person has a different innate way of connecting with their intuition. Some people receive information visually, some can feel it in their body, that gut feeling. Some hear it, some just know it. A lot of people just know it. Some access it through movement or through breath. Now, human design, which is one of the frameworks that I use with my clients, actually maps this. It tells you the exact channels through which your soul, your higher self, and your guides communicate with you most clearly. Without knowing how you receive intuition best, you might be trying to access your intuition through a door that is not necessarily yours. Now, second of all, and this is crucial, your emotional state determines the accuracy of everything that you receive. This is the part that most people overlook entirely, and this is why a lot of people do not trust their intuition. Intuition itself is always accurate. The signal is always there. It is always accurate. But the moment you are emotionally activated about a question, about a decision, then you emotionally manipulate the answer, or more like the interpretation of the answer that you receive. Now, the higher stake a decision is, the more careful you have to be about your emotional neutrality before you ask the question, because high stakes create high emotion, and high emotion creates distorted and manipulated answers. And that is why my clients choose to come to me again and again, because when I tap into their field, I am neutral about it and I am able to communicate the right answers for them. Or if they are long-term mentorship clients, I teach them how to tap into their intuition in the highest level, most accurate scientific-based level, and also neutralize themselves, even if they are tapping into answers of high level, high stakes decisions. Now, a third thing that people get wrong about intuition, and a reason they don't trust it, is they just ask one question. Should I do this? Should I not do this? That is way too much pressure to put on a single question. That question is too broad, it's too emotionally loaded, and it asks your intuition to collapse an entire complex situation into a binary yes or no answer. It is like asking a surgeon to diagnose a patient with just one look. Precise, 100% accurate intuition requires multiple angles and multiple questions. And this is exactly why the framework that I'm going to introduce to you today does not use one question. It uses plenty of questions. I'm going to present 5, but when I do intuitive reads for clients, or when I teach my clients how to read situations and make decisions for themselves led by intuition, we ask plenty of questions. Today, I'm going to present 5, and each question approaches the same decision from a completely different energetic angle. There's the soul alignment angle, the timing angle, the lessons angle, the emotional future angle, and the financial angle. Together, they give you a full picture that a single question could never do. Now, a word on the science of intuition, because I know that some of you need this. Some of you are like, hey, Shiri, like you have a PhD, you're a doctor. How are you talking about intuition? Well, intuition is scientifically proven and correct. And let me just break this down to you. I could do a whole video just about this, but I'm just going to quickly give you the rundown of how intuition is actually led and proven by science. Now, everything in the universe is made of light and matter. This has been proven. Light carries information with it. Now, your body right now is a sophisticated decoder of that information. Every cell that you have is reading and interpreting energy fields constantly, automatically, subconsciously. For example, when you decide in your brain that you want to lift your right hand, your brain sends electrical signal. That electric signal looks like light, and that light carries information. And that light goes to your hand and tells it that it should now be lifted. Your brain is constantly interpreting light to understand what needs to be done. Now, again, this is not spiritual woo-woo. This is physics. Your thoughts produce electromagnetic fields. Those fields shape matter. They shape what happens. And because everything in existence emits a field, a light, information, your body has always been able to read those fields. It just does it on a subconscious level, beneath your conscious awareness. Now, your brain can read your own electric fields, and it can also read others. I'm sure you've had the situation where you met someone and you just had a certain vibe about them. Either you liked them or something just didn't feel right about them. That was your brain subconsciously reading the information that they emit in the form of light. Or you might have had the situation where you walked into a room where maybe there was a fight, an argument going on there just a few moments before, and you felt the tension. Again, that is you reading intuitively the energy in that room and of those people. Developing intuition does not mean acquiring a gift that you don't have. It means learning to consciously access a process that your body and your brain already performs automatically on a subconscious level. Just like monks can actually consciously learn to slow their heart rate, a function that your body usually handles on its own on a subconscious level, you can learn to consciously access the intelligence your cells have been decoding all along. Now, when an intuitive, sophisticated investor, founder, entrepreneur evaluates a deal, they do their due diligence. They look beyond the numbers. They're trying to access information that isn't yet visible in the data because they know that the data is always a trailing indicator. Intuitive channeling, intuitive reading is energetic due diligence. It's how you access leading indicators, the information that's already present in the field before it surfaces up in a spreadsheet. Now, the sovereign decision method that I'm going to break down for you now is how I bring that process into your business, into your boardroom, into your life. Let me show you how it works. When a client comes to me with a decision, a merger, a hire, an investment, a launch strategy, marketing strategy, we move through various questions. And as I said today, I'm going to introduce 5. And each one of those 5 reads the decision and looks at the decision from a different angle. Before I walk you through the 5 questions, I want to name something important. For any of this to work with precision, to get to that high level, precise intuition, the person asking the question needs to be in a state of emotional neutrality. And what I'm saying is not detachment, but neutrality, because you can care deeply about the outcome and still ask from a completely grounded, regulated, neutral place. And that neutral place is the condition under which your field gives you the most clean information and you interpret that information in the most accurate way. Now, if you are emotional about a decision, anxious, hopeful, afraid, desperate, whatever that is, the answers that you receive will be filtered through that emotion. And as I said before, this is one of the most common reasons why people distrust their intuition, not because the answers were wrong, but because their emotion actually distorted the way that they interpreted the information that they received. Now, learning to regulate yourself to a state of genuine neutrality before accessing intuitive information is a skill, a practice, and a mastery. It takes time. It is something that I teach my sovereign mentorship clients in depth. But for now, just notice this. The more emotionally charged you are about a decision, the less reliable your self-read will be. And this is part of why having someone else read for you, someone who has no emotional stake in your outcome, is so valuable. Okay, now the 5 questions. Question number 1 is, does this align with one or more of my soul goals? The first thing that I check for any major business decision is soul alignment. Now, your soul goals are not your business goals or your revenue targets. They are the coherent thread of what your soul came here to do and experience in this lifetime. And they are not what you have been programmed to want. Now, what I have seen again and again working with founders and entrepreneurs at the highest level is not all success feels aligned. You can build something really impressive on the outside that is completely incoherent with who you are and what your soul came here to do. And when that happens, no amount of strategy can fix the exhaustion, the disconnection, that quiet sense that something is off, even when the numbers look good. The biggest gift that intuitive reading and intuitive work can offer you is it strips away the person that you have been conditioned to be, and it returns you to who your soul genuinely, truly is. Your most timid, small, people-pleasing tendencies, that is not your soul self. That's what the world taught you to be. Your soul self is the truest, most undiluted version of you, the one that knows exactly what it wants and exactly what it doesn't, exactly what it came to live and experience in this lifetime, what it came to contribute to people and to the world in this lifetime. And getting back to that self is where the real fulfillment lives. So when I check a decision for soul alignment, what I'm looking for is that coherence. Does moving toward this create expansion? Or will it lead to something that will actually put you further away, pull you further away from your soul goals? Does this feel like an authentic yes, something that will expand you? Or does it feel like something that will just, again, pull you away from what you truly came to experience in this lifetime? I myself experienced this because I, in my past, was an online health and fitness coach. And while I love fitness and nutrition and everything around it, if I had had intuition or if I had known how to use intuition back then, I would have found out much earlier that that was not in alignment with my soul goals. My soul came here to do something completely differently, something that nowadays just feels so much more aligned. And when I was running that old business for 2 years, I always felt so disconnected. I hated what I do and I couldn't explain why, even though the business was full time, was generating money. And this is exactly what it's like. And that is why when people come to me with questions, this is the first thing I always check, because if this thing is not in alignment with one or more of your soul goals, even if it'll look successful on the outside, you will actually hate it. And that is not why we are here. Intuition is meant to create shortcuts. It's meant to hack your life, not to make things longer and make you feel exhausted, burnt out, and disconnected from yourself. Now, question number 2 is this the dream? Or is this preparing you for the dream? Some opportunities are stepping stones and some are destinations. And intuition shows you which one is which. Now, when your soul is moving you towards something you are not yet fully ready to receive, and readiness matters because your soul will not deliver something that you don't have the capacity to hold, that you're not ready for, then it creates preparation situations, environments that look like the thing, but are actually just building you for the thing, which is not a bad thing. It is just a good thing to know when you are entering something, because most entrepreneurs, business owners, founders interpret those stepping stone situations as failures, right? They will push harder and they will try to force the outcome and will be really frustrated when it doesn't happen. And then they're exhausted and confused when a seemingly right decision keeps draining them. Now, what I ask here is this thing that this person is unsure about, is this a dream, the real thing, or is it a stepping stone? So, for example, I had a client who was considering a significant business expansion, taking the business into different directions. Now, from the outside, it looked like the obvious next move. But when I looked in intuitively, what I saw is that expansion was not actually the destination. It was the infrastructure that made the destination possible 18 months on. And when I said that to the client, that made the whole transition so much easier for them, because they did not look at it as something that just had to succeed no matter what. They looked at it as something that they knew they would learn from and lead them to the next thing. Question number 3 is this a desire fulfillment or is this a reflective lesson? Some experiences are here as reflections. And if you don't know what reflections are, I have a few videos where I talk about it at length. So make sure to go back and listen to those, watch those. Reflections are essentially lessons. When there is an inner imbalance in one or more of the 8 areas of life, those reflections come up to help you get back into balance. Our aim as human beings is to always be in balance in all 8 areas of life. When something is out of balance, that is when you're going to get a lesson to make sure that you're getting back into balance. And a lot of the times, if you are not getting back into balance with something, then the same lesson, the same reflection will come up again and again and again in different costumes, in different ways, until the learning is complete, until you finally see what the universe has been trying to tell you and you get back into balance. And that could be, the client who keeps hiring the same type of person and getting burnt. It can be the founder who keeps entering the same time of partnership and ending up feeling frustrated, annoyed, invisible. It can be the business model that keeps attracting the same type of client even after you change everything in order to finally attract different types of clients. These are soul lessons, reflective lessons, and you cannot hustle your way out of those lessons. You need to know what they are here to show you, and then you need to shift the root cause in order to get back into balance and stop getting those same reflective lessons. So when you are unsure about a decision, when you want to look in intuitively regarding a decision, it's always good to ask, is this actually the end goal? Is this my desire fulfilled? Or is this actually here to teach me a lesson? And again, those lessons are not bad, but if we get that this is actually here as a reflective lesson, not as something that you actually want, we can just, again, shortcut our way through it, see what the lesson is, and help you learn it and implement it without having to go through a whole big situation in your life, like losing money, losing time, losing energy, all of those things in order to learn that lesson. And again, this is where trained intuition is so incredibly helpful, to just get you those shortcuts for you not to have to go through those lessons unnecessarily. Question number 4 is, will I be grateful that this happened or will I regret it? Now, I read emotional timelines. Every decision has a future emotional signature, emotional timeline, that hindsight, right? And that signature is already present in the field before the decision is made, because in the quantum field and according to quantum physics, there is no such thing as time and space, okay? All timelines, all dimensions, and all spaces exist simultaneously. So you can actually have a look into a different timeline in the future, even in the present. And you can feel what you will feel in the future if you know where to look. Now, this is not fortune telling, okay? I am not reading the future exactly what's going to happen. What I'm reading is the energetic arc of the decision as it stands right now, with the current conditions, with the current trajectory, a snapshot of what is probable to happen and what you will probably feel. And what I ask here is, all said and done, at some point, is this person, or if you want to ask for yourself, am I happy and grateful that this happened? And see what comes up. And the final question, question number 5 that I'm going to talk to you about today is, does this open me up for more money and more abundance? So I test financial flow and financial timelines. And again, this is not as a fixed prediction. Nothing is fixed. We do not fortune tell here. This is an energetic map of when and how wealth moves in relation to a given decision. Now, you can look at a lot of different timelines, time windows. I like looking at 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, but really it depends on the specific decision, the specific question in question. So when a client is unsure about an investment or again a decision in business, it is always good to see whether that investment, whether that move will open them up to more money or not. And sometimes it won't within 6 months, but it will within 12 months or 2 years. So it is always important to check those different timelines and understand what we are looking at. For example, I had a client recently that wanted to launch a new product and they wanted to move fast with it. They were ready to go. When I looked at the financial field, the financial timeline of that move, the product itself was sound. The wealth potential was genuinely there, but the structure the business was in the moment created this bottleneck around making more money. So what I saw was that the money would only move after a specific structural change. We identified what the structural change needed was. I gave the client tools to implement it, both with physical action and then also energetic and neuroscience tools to make sure that they become the person who can hold that new structure. Then I saw that that would open them up for more money within 12 months. So they didn't need to scrap the product. They needed a new structure in order to open them up for more money. So if you are facing a decision right now, try these 5 questions. I recommend starting with low stakes decisions because, as I said, the higher stake a decision is, the more emotional you will be and the less neutral you will be about it. But ask yourself those 5 questions and notice what you felt most clearly about each question. I want you to notice for each question what felt like an opening, what felt like a contraction. That is your higher intelligence speaking to you beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath the sophisticated stories that you have been telling yourself, that your mind has been telling you over the years. And I want you to notice how different that feels from spreadsheet, mind-based thinking, from that overthinking that keeps you up at night for days, weeks, and months. And I want you to know that this is not softer thinking. This is not less rigorous than spreadsheets and consulting your mind. This is actually more rigorous because you accessed information that your analytic mind can never do, right? Future data felt now. The founders, the entrepreneurs, the business owners that I work with who build the most incredible, financially expansive, genuinely fulfilling businesses never stopped using logic. We do not stop using logic. They are the ones that stopped using logic alone. They integrate both streams, analytic intelligence and energetic intelligence, which is intuition, due diligence, and energetic due diligence. Both of these matter. And now you know what kind of questions to ask when you are tapping in intuitively. But of course, it is very, very important, as I said, to know how you specifically receive intuitive information, to practice, 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 and to make sure that you are emotionally neutral about the decision. Now, if what you just experienced, listened to, resonated, if you felt something in that exercise that you want to access with full precision, with the full set of questions that will tackle the decision from every single angle possible so that you can make an informed decision that you don't have to overthink after that. And all of this apply to specific decisions on your horizon right now, then I want to invite you to book a Sovereign session with me. The Sovereign session is a private 90-minute experience where I run this entire framework for you, precisely, fully, with your specific situation and also your human design, your energetic blueprint. And this is not generic. This is very, very specific to the decisions that you are carrying and facing right now. What I do is I tap in intuitively and I look into your human design as well. And I access the financial energetic ROI of every significant decision on your horizon, the emotional timelines, the soul alignment, the lesson, the stepping stones, the destinations. You leave with clarity that does not waver because it did not come from anxiety. It did not come from pressure. It did not come from external conditioning. It did not come from someone else's framework for what your business should look like or should do. It came from your own soul, from your own higher intelligence and higher guidance, from your own field. And I help you access that and read that. The link to book your Sovereign session is right below this video. And if this video hits something in you, if you want more, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel because more is coming. This is just the beginning. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.